Hello guys, what is good and welcome back to another episode of That New Music Podcast. I am so excited to introduce you to a band called Zela, and in their own words describe themselves as dark electronic brat-pop siblings from the north, which I think describes their sound to a T. Zela, in my opinion, are a band who know how to make some serious waves in the music industry, and they want to take their fans with them. Already playing Mainstage at festivals, they are seriously one to add to the playlist. Also, just a little side note guys, I really do apologise, but there is a point in the podcast where we kind of lose a bit of connection, and also my camera decides to die halfway through, which it never normally does. I think I'm going to need to get a new battery, so apologies for that in advance. It does go from the quality which I like to present to you guys to Zoom quality, which is kind of annoying, but that's like halfway through. It's hard to control the whole setup when you're a one-woman show, so give a gal a break. But what Zela was saying was so interesting and so important, and I just love their whole vibe and who they are as a band, and I think you'll love what they've got to say. But yeah, let's get on with the podcast, I guess. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Oh, that was weird. Oh my god, we like really harmonized.
Yeah.
Are we good? Like 1D or something? That was weird.
Maybe one day.
Thank you for having us, sir. Appreciate it.
No, it's fine. I've been excited to speak to you. I'm so glad I walked into This Is Tomorrow when I did, because honestly, it was just me and my mate Joe. We walked in and we were like, who are they on the stage? I was like, they have some serious like energy about them. And we just sat there and we were watching you and we're like, they need to be on my podcast.
Nice.
I love that.
That's what we like to
I
hear.
love making like fans and friends organically like that. Like I love it. I think it's something that obviously with the lockdowns and the pandemic, that's something we've not had in so long. So I think for us, obviously launching from the start of Zela being like March 2020, the start of the pandemic, that's kind of the first time that we're getting to experience that, like organic fans at gigs, you know. So after like a year and a half of releasing music, we're finally getting that feeling. It's really nice.
We purposefully held off last year on doing any gigs. We got a few offers, but last year was a weird time, like last summer after that first lockdown, and we had some gig offers come in, and it was just a bit like there were socially distanced gigs, and we didn't want our first live experience as this band to be a socially distanced experience. To put it quite bluntly, we wanted our first gigs to be exactly what our first gigs ended up being. Know, people in a room together, not sat on tables, socially distanced, like everyone kind of scared about who might have a virus or what. Like it worked out in the end.
Yeah, it must have been such a strange experience as an artist, especially an emerging artist in the pandemic, to have that first gig experience and it being so like separated, and it's just not the same kind of energy, is it, at all?
Absolutely. No, we did over the July last year we filmed a series at this brewery in where was it? Harrogate, called Roosters, and we put 3 songs of the 3 songs that we had out at the time. And we did them live and we shot it. We got a guy to come in and film it properly, and that was kind of, we wanted to represent how we were going to translate the songs live, how we were going to perform them, because obviously just being the 2 of us, we brand Zela as a duo, the sound is quite full, so we bring in a couple of session players live, and we have Max on the sample pad and me playing a bit of guitar, and we wanted to kind of present how we were going to do that when it came to the live show. So that was kind of the closest thing that we had throughout the whole of 2020 to live performances, you know, and that was even just to nobody. That was just us doing it to the camera to showcase what we do. So that was kind of the height of the excitement for us when it came to gigs, you know. And we were just like, we don't want to do this, we want to do it properly, so we'll wait, we'll be patient for once, and we'll wait. And it was worth it. It paid off. So yeah.
So where was your first gig then?
So we played a gig at the Georgian Theatre in Stockton, and that was only July the 31st. So it was only a couple of months ago, and it was our obviously debut gig, but we headlined and we had a couple of bands on with us, and it was just such a good night, wasn't it? It was like everything we thought it would be. Obviously it was a room full of people that we love and that love us, and family and friends and new fans and people who had become fans over the course of the pandemic, and it was mental to like look out and see that in the crowd and just like this is a room full of people that love us and that we love, and it was such a vibe. And yeah, that was our first gig back in July. And we've only played a few since then, really, haven't we?
I think This Is Tomorrow was number 4.
Yeah.
Really? So you've moved pretty fast then, haven't you? All things considered.
We just wanted to do as much as we could while we could. We're just like, right, let's just crack on, you know, let's just take what we can, say yes to everything, figure it out afterwards. You know, we've worked hard on the music and to build Zela up to what it is, and why not showcase that as much as we can.
Yeah, I genuinely didn't believe that you were a new band. Like, honestly, I was like, they are not a new band. They are not. Honestly.
That's awesome.
So I love all your tracks. There isn't one that I don't like. Like, genuinely, there is not one that I don't like. And I love...
I was hoping there would be. I'd be like, let's talk about it. I was like, why?
No, I literally couldn't choose a favourite one. But what I love most about your whole sound is that the electronic part of your music meets the pop so well, and like it just complements each other so much. And then the fact you have your little intricate details in there as well, like the voice notes and the laughing in the background. And I think sometimes as a listener, things like that really enhance the whole experience of listening to music. But what I want to know is, for you guys, what was that experience like, or the process like, of finding a sound that you could both work with and you both liked?
We took our time,
yeah,
didn't we?
We did, yeah.
We've both been in bands, like separate bands and bands together before, like when we were younger. And then we had this idea for Zela. So the previous band that we had was very, very like guitar, drums, bass, vocals, like nothing like electronic. Like it was pretty like pop punky, I guess, pop rocky. And then that split up and we were like, right, what do we want to do? Let's buy a MacBook and start kind of experimenting with electronic sounds. So we literally bought a MacBook and like a tiny little MIDI keyboard that I still use now, written everything that we've released on that tiny MIDI keyboard. It's about this big, perfect for flying with, it just goes straight in your rucksack. And
always thinking practically.
I'm the
practical. Well, we need one of us to be, and I'm just absolutely not.
So we just started experimenting with sounds and free plugins and stuff like 808 plugins. And at the time we would kind of gravitate into a more electronic like music taste in the sense of what we listened to as well. Previously it had just kind of been like very like raw and live and pop punky and rocky, and then all of a sudden we were listening to like new electronic music. We were listening to like chart stuff a lot, alternative electronic stuff as well, I should say. And and then we started working with a guy called George who he's a producer. He works at Home Fire Studios in Harrogate. And the three of us really started like honing the Zela sound together. And that was back in like 2018.
Yeah, 2018. Yeah.
And
we just all kind of clicked. We connected on the same level, and George understood as a producer what we needed from our sound and what we couldn't facilitate ourselves, you know, literally like equipment wise, and just having that other brain in the equation just really kind of enhanced our sound massively. And we have all just grown together, him as a producer, us as artists, over the last couple of years, and we're still growing. You know, we're by no means at our peak. We're still experimenting, and we're still like, you know, finding what excites us as musicians, and me as a lyricist, what I want to write about, being more honest and open. And I think that we're still growing, but it just kind of works, isn't it? And all those intricate details, I think they came very naturally. We call them the 1%. When we write, I'll have to, my cold, by the way, I've not addressed it yet. I sound right now, so
oh my god, say it's fine.
I apologize for sounding like Paris Hilton on, I don't know, a British Paris Hilton. I'm like so nasal. That's fine. Yeah. Tipton, that's it. So yeah, I think those 1%, as we call them, like the little details are kind of what really makes Zela, and those are the things that are so much fun to do when the track's done. I'm always thinking of them, and I'm always, you know, at this point we could do that, but that's always the final thing that we do. And we add those little samples in, and like you say, the voice notes or the phone sound and the screams and all those little things that really kind of add up to make the song what it is. And we just have fun. We just have loads of fucking fun all the time. And I think that's the most important part. I think that translates. I hope it does anyway.
Yeah, it definitely translates 100%. Do you think sometimes it can be hard to find a producer who really understands like the sound that you want to portray and stuff.
I think so, yeah. I think it's very easy to, because I guess we see George as more of a creative, well, like we've developed the music with George as opposed to just having the songs 100% done, like ready to just go in, record, get out of there. Like that's not how we've worked with Zela.
Yeah.
Which is strange because that's exactly how we work with all of our other bands.
Yeah, typically with other producers, that's what you do, isn't it?
Every other band that we've had, we've like rehearsed a song to death before we've gone into the studio. And then like being in the studio as little time as we possibly can to like get it done, and time is money and efficiency and all this. And then all of a sudden like we go into a session with George where it's just like the three of us, and instead we spending like days just like playing with synths and like figuring out sounds and stuff and
bouncing off each other. And I think it's so important to have that time as a creative, to just not put the pressure on and to not have the clock ticking in your ear. I think just having that time to just really kind of be an artist and just enjoy your own music. And I think that I personally do anyway, I get my best ideas when I'm chilling, it's casual and I'm not under any sort of pressure. And I understand that that's not always how life is, and sometimes you do have to put the pressure on. But in terms of how Zela started, I think that it was really kind of beneficial to have that time to be able to experiment, which is kind of, it loops back on how lockdown almost kind of helped us, because we had already started a lot on the project, and we knew how we wanted to sound and where we wanted to go with it. We had a vision and a direction, but in terms of getting the music out, we were kind of working in real time towards the back end of the single releases last year, and we were having that time to work within a bubble. And because of lockdown, sometimes it was FaceTime studio sessions. So like Max and I, obviously we're brother and sister, so we live at home together. But George being in the studio, we'd often FaceTime and he would be doing his thing and we'd have our input. And although you can't record like that, you can still be creative together like that. So it was very much adapting, and giving ourselves the time to play about and experiment, I think was definitely beneficial to us at that point.
Yeah, it's funny how you say like you need that time to kind of like switch off and just relax to get your creative ideas, because I'm 100% like that. But then when you were saying as well that life's not always like that and sometimes you have that pressure, I feel like I'm like a contradiction, because I need that time to switch off, but then I need that pressure to get shit done as well.
100%. And I totally get where you're coming from with that, because there's often times when we've needed a vocal line done like that, and I think that it is often easy to think, oh god, but like to do my best work I need more time. It's not always like that. Sometimes you got to trust yourself, like you're a fucking machine, you know. You do what you do, like in whatever aspect, like I myself included, we all do what we do because we love doing it. And I think that sometimes you do just have to trust yourself and just like go for it. And often I think a lot of the things that a lot of my vocal lines or my lyrics that we've kind of come up with last minute because we've needed something have sometimes been arguably my best. And that's the opinion of you and George a lot of the time. And
the I don't know if you know the bridge, or the middle eight, I should say, like the middle eight, like monologue bit in I'm Healing. So we had those chords, we had that section. I think we had some kind of vocal line for it before we had the monologue. There was something in. And then I can't remember who it was. It was either me or George was like, you know what would be cool over that section is if we have like a speak, like a speaker. Like a topic. Jesus Christ, right? It's a long bit. That's what the word is.
I have live and I do the speak.
So and Liv was just like, yeah, that'll be sick. Right, give me like 10 minutes. She goes in the vocal booth, disappears, and like you can see her through the window, and she's just like curled up in a ball on the floor, just like flying through different sheets of paper and like scribbling stuff down and all this. And then she's just like, comes through and she's like, yeah, okay, right, I'm ready to go. Okay, it's been like 12 minutes or something. And then she just put down what you hear on the record. Like it was the first take. Yeah, literally did that. Me and George lost our minds in the control room.
I could like see them through the little window. I couldn't hear them, but I could see them. And I think George threw a chair.
He did.
a chair and like throw it across I think there's like a little indent in the carpet.
There is. There's like a little tiny round circle in the carpet where the chair broke as he picked it up and then smashed it into the ground as he threw it down.
So there's definitely beauty in putting pressure on yourself and just being aware of your boundaries and of also within yourself what you're capable of, I think, is the
100%.
moral of that story. But yeah,
I think you're right on that. And also you mentioned that you're in past bands. I didn't know that. So how do you feel like that compares to Zela now?
It's like a totally different thing. It's very interesting because so Max and I we're a year apart in age, a year and a day. Max is a year older than me, so we're very close. So we've always been in like the same bands more or less since we're sort of 13, 14. And our dad's a musician, so my mum's so supportive. So yeah, so it's like fully in the family. It's like we've kind of grown up with just instruments littered everywhere and music from every room. And
behind the screen, I can literally see a bass guitar,
guitar,
and an
I want to turn
guitar.
it, but I can't.
Yeah,
I shouldn't. I'll break some. But yeah, I digress. We were always in bands, and I think for that reason, like we definitely maybe like you say you saw us at This Is Tomorrow and you're like, wow, I can't believe this is they're a new band. But I think because we've had a lot of experience with gigs, we toured up and down the country, we toured in Spain, we went to America, and back then it was obviously we were a lot younger and we had very different interests and we were listening to different music to what we do now. We were kids and although I'm very proud of that time and we had so much fucking fun, we made so many memories, it wasn't ultimately the music we wanted to make because we were growing as people and as artists, listening to different genres and just experimenting. That's kind of when Zela made a lot of sense, and I think that we will continue to do that with Zela, but we know who we are. We're very self-aware as artists, I think, now.
So I know like you mentioned This Is Tomorrow and like about how we're like a new band and stuff and how like we say that was like gig 4 for Zela, but I can't remember what the other years were, but like in 2017 we played 130 gigs over the year.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so with like we flogged like we've been doing this since we were like 13 in different bands, like originals and covers.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know.
So covers we'd like obviously do to make money, and like when we were younger it was just like a bit of fun because we were like 14 and like playing the pubs and but as that went on and we were like, wow, we're quite good at this. We're all right at this. And this
you do 130 gigs in a year and you become quite good at it.
No shit.
That's just become what you do.
But then I hit a point where I was like, no, fuck this, it needs to be the right gig. Like I was wearing my voice out and we were doing all sorts and I was like, you know what, no, 100% focus needs to be on Zela. Like that's just what we need to do. And as it happens, the pandemic was like, I agree. Like do your thing. COVID was like obviously the worst thing to fucking ever happen for a long time for the world. Absolutely fucking dreadful. For so many reasons that we don't need to go into, but there was definitely a sense of how can we make this our bitch a little bit, how can we literally wasn't it like what we've got two choices. We can either stop what we're doing and put everything on hold as Zela and pray that this passes in a year, 2 year fight. We didn't know how long this was gonna go on, literally globally. I'm just glad that like we made that decision to push on, do what we could with the facilities that we had, and now we're finally able to get out and gig. So clearly, thanks to what you're saying, it's paying off. And
it's definitely working.
That's what we like to hear. Nice bit of feedback to boost my ego.
I need any more boosting.
I'm trying to kill my ego at the minute through a lot of spirituality and shit.
Don't kill it. It's one of the best things that you'll have is you.
No, it's also funny as well that you mentioned that, like, everything that you've gone through previously with your bands and stuff. I feel like from what you're saying, it's kind of shaped you and massively prepared you for Zela. And I feel like the momentum behind that and what I'm feeling from a fan's point of view is working so well. You just execute everything like really well, and your fan base is already growing at pretty much a lightning speed. Like, you just know exactly what you're doing, especially with all the socials as well. Because I feel like sometimes as a new artist, I see a lot of the time they kind of struggle with the social media side of things as well, especially now because it's a new thing with music. You know, in the past you didn't have to have all these social medias, promote yourself constantly. It's just hard work and having all that side as well, but you seem to do it so well.
Well, thank you. I don't feel like we do. I feel this is like an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
We feel like we are, like you say, because it's so saturated now, like social media, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, well, mostly Instagram and TikTok now, isn't it? TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok, yeah.
Miles ahead. And like, that's something that we are kind of, I don't mean struggling with the TikTok thing. I just don't fucking get it. But I feel like if I applied myself and I consumed it a little bit more, because I'm not entertained by TikTok, I just don't go on it. But everyone raves about it, so maybe I need to give it more of a chance. But I do think that you're right, we do take care of our fans and of our socials, and I think that we are always thinking about new content to make, and we're always I like that we give the fans that we have already the little insights that we do when we're in the studio, and in terms of, you know, how we write and how we work, and that kind of littered with the, you know, the shoots that we do and the gigs and the live shots. And I think that definitely is a big chunk of being an artist now is social media and content, and being able to keep that up as kind of parallel to being the creative, like I said before, and having that time to relax and be the creative, and also live an everyday fucking life where you got to work and you work out and you got to look after yourself and your house and your mind and all that and your money. It's like there's so much to think about, and I do think that it does have to be like scheduled almost, doesn't it, with that
it does. And as well, we kind of like, if we've got something coming up, we'll think, how do we get as much content out of that as possible? So it might be gig, it might be just a session in the studio, whatever, it might be photo shoot, but it's like, how do we get as much content of that out of that as possible? If it's a gig, it's like, who do we have taking photos? What BTS are we getting? What sound check stuff? Exactly. Is this going to be someone there videoing it, taking photos? Like,
and that's as much for us as it is for the fans, I guess, because like we want to remember this shit, and like we love being immersed in it. And I mean, we bought like a handheld proper retro video camera just for Zela and Zela camera. Yeah, we're on splicing together some footage. We've kind of captured everything over the last couple of years on that, you know, the BTS stuff, and that's behind the scenes, obviously not the Korean. I just said it, but I don't know why when I said it there, I thought, I hope that doesn't get confused. You know what I mean? I said BTS, and I thought maybe that's the thing. I don't know, but yeah, behind the scenes. And yeah, I just think that like having it as much as possible is as much for us as it is for people viewing it.
We've literally got like a year's worth of footage on that handheld camera now from
two now, I think. Yeah, be coming up 2
of like gigs, rehearsals, studio sessions, just daft shit. Like,
stupid shit. Some of it probably will never be able to see the light of day.
We've not put any of it out, have we? We've literally got like,
it's too much. We're like, where the fuck do we even start with it?
We've got like a hard drive's worth of BTS from like everything we've done in the last year.
We'll get there though. And when we do, it'll be an explosion of absolute chaos.
It'll be a Zela documentary.
It will. Yeah. We'll give it to someone else to edit together, because I can't be bothered.
Fuck that. Like 2 years worth of footage. No thanks.
So much. I honestly, I've learned to use iMovie. Now I should be a videographer. It's just, it's easy when you know what you're doing, but I think that like, again, it comes back to time and time management and applying. You know, it's very easy to be like, oh, I could just slice that together, but it's like, okay, if that's like 3 hours out of your day that you're going to put towards doing that, when it's like, okay, but we need new music, and you need to be, you know, you've got this gig coming up, so you need to be practicing for that, or making sure the set's right, or even just, you know, like I say, day to day, go to the gym, keeping my voice right. I do vocal lessons, and when it all adds up, certain things do slip. So I think it's time management is like something I'm trying really hard to just focus on and kind of improve on it personally.
Yeah, I read a quote the other day, and it was it's not about how you manage time, it's about how you manage yourself in time or something. And I was just like, oh my god, I'm a failure.
Don't take that from that. No, I get you though. I think it's easy to like be kind of, I think you just got to know yourself, don't you? You just got to know yourself and where you're at, what works. Yeah. And it'll all figure itself out.
Yeah. And like you said earlier about boundaries, it's definitely about setting boundaries and knowing yourself and what works for you and what doesn't.
Massively.
But also, so your confidence on stage, it's not only that, but your confidence with your sound and then the confidence with interacting with your fans and everything, and you do everything so well. And I can imagine that you're both fairly confident away from Zela anyway. What experiences in life do you feel like have majorly helped you develop that confidence and shape who you are now?
I honestly think, I mean, the obvious answer is that we've done it for as long as we have in terms of it really is a case of just practice makes, I hate perfect, no one's perfect, nothing's perfect, but practice gets you there.
Yeah.
And it gets you there quicker. And I do think that just like having that experience and just doing it from such a young age is played a huge part. But yeah, that I'd say that for me. What about you? That's an interesting one for you, because I am always the one answering things about confidence. So I guess that's part of the confidence.
For me, I don't know, I guess like positive life experiences, like good feedback from people, meeting good people. It's always nice to have like other musicians talk about your playing or talk about your drumming.
Like having like faith in yourself, like not to sound too hippy dippy shite about it, but like I think it goes such a long way. Not that like fake it till you make it crap, but almost like if you just if you walk into a room assuming that people are going to like you. I think I read this somewhere. What is it? You're not supposed to walk into a room assuming everyone likes you, but if you walk in being happy knowing that they won't, kind of thing, you know, being satisfied knowing that within yourself, like that you're you. And I just think that like that's your biggest fucking superpower. Like you have to just be yourself. No one else gets to be you. That's the beauty of it. And I mean, I know I may come across as confident like now on stage and all that, and I'm very much more self-aware than I used to be, but I've definitely had dips, you know, especially during my teenage years and stuff. That you go through periods where you doubt yourself, you have shit boyfriends or shit girlfriends, and people say shit things to you. That's the way of the fucking world. People are shit. People are always going to say shit to you, but you have to just be able to pull yourself back round whichever way you can, whichever way works for you, and just find yourself again, regroup, and just kind of know that you got it. Like, and I think that like the more that you tell yourself that, you know, your brain picks up on habits. You just got to tell yourself it all the time until it becomes you, and then you will find people saying, oh wow, you're so confident and you seem so happy, and you will be, that'll be genuine, it'll be sincere. And I think when you find that within yourself, it really does radiate. That's my advice.
I think a lot of it with me is like what you tell yourself as well. Like if you kind of exactly what you've just said, like really if you important. like I can think to myself like, no, I can do this and I'm going to crush this. Like, I'm not just going to do it. I'm going to like absolutely crush it, whether that be like going out for a run or I don't know, a new fill. Yeah. Big one for me was the dentist.
Oh, right?
Yeah. So I until like, well, maybe not so much now, but like I had a big like fear of the dentist. Bad experiences when I was younger and stuff, and just like even like going and sitting in the waiting room, the dentist was like a really, really big thing.
I've never seen Max scared of much, like at all growing up. There's very little that affects him. He's a bit of a robot. And it's like
emotionless.
It's like, which can be very, very, very good for you. But with this, I've not, it was a lot, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like if I had a dentist appointment coming up, I would be like losing sleep, feeling sick, can't concentrate on stuff. Yeah. And then I had to go for, I ended up having to go for 2,000 because I just put something off and then I had to go and get 2,000. And then the morning that I got up to go to the dentist for my appointment, I just got up with an entirely different mindset and was just kind of thinking to myself, I can do this. Like I can do like whatever. Like if I put my mind, I can get through anything. And I went and I sat in the waiting room feeling like I was about to have a fight. I was like so amped up, just like sat behind my mask, socially distanced in this waiting room, like feeling like I was going to have a fight. And and it was like absolutely fine. And now I don't really have a phobia of the dentist anymore, because I came out thinking, if I can get through that, I can get through absolutely anything. Whatever anyone throws at me, I'll get through. Like,
I have to add a little side note in there. When he came back, I said, so like, how did you get through it? I said to him, I said that, and he was like, well, I mean, the dentist said to me beforehand, if you want to like wear some earphones, and if you want to listen to some music, make a playlist or whatever, like do it if that helps like drown out the sound of the drills and whatnot. Max was like, yeah. So I said, oh, so did you do that? He's like, yeah, I just made a playlist. So, oh, cool. Like, what was on the playlist? He genuinely, he goes, oh, I just, like, straight face, oh, I couldn't really think of what to put on, so I just typed in songs about teeth.
What?
Sorry. So it was like Teeth by Lady Gaga, and I can't ridiculous. But I was like, hang on. So to distract yourself from the ongoing tooth experience that was going on, you typed in songs about teeth. He just does it. He was just like, oh yeah, that's a bit weird, isn't it? I'm like, well, yeah.
Did it get us through?
It got him through though. So I mean, I think that the moral there is face everything fucking head on.
Yeah, just embrace it.
Yeah.
We've talked about like my teeth in the interview for the first time.
I know, yeah, that's pretty funny. Sorry, so enjoy that.
So basically, the success of Zela is coming from your dentist.
Right, exactly. Yeah. How are you guys so confident? Just embrace the dentist.
No pun intended. Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty cool story. Edgy, I like that.
Right, edgy, I like it.
Yeah, so I love the whole confidence. It's great, and I can really tell from your lyrics as well that you are so confident in who you are. And especially in terms of your sexuality and introducing that into your music, and the fact that you are bisexual, which is great, by the way. How did you feel introducing that into the music, and did you feel comfortable talking about it?
Yeah, I think like when I think back, I mean, I've always written, whether it be stories, poems, lyrics, whatever, from being a kid. I've just loved words. I've loved making words rhyme. I've got like piles and piles of notepads upstairs that are just like words, in some form. And looking back, I realized how much I wrote about women and girls and celebrity and just the qualities of being a woman. And like, it obviously as a kid, it was never in a romantic way. It was just I just love women. I just love girls. I just find it so much easier to write about women. And I guess as I grew older and I was experimenting with my writing, but with myself and my experiences and meeting new people, and I did realize that I was bisexual. And I obviously there was kind of that scary, I guess, on the scary phase, where you're feeling everything and you don't know what's right and what's not, and you're kind of scared to say anything. But to be honest, it wasn't a big deal. I feel like I never had like a moment where I was like, where I like came out or whatever. I just kind of started writing songs, and people, they were just accepted, and that was it. Same with my family. It was just accepted like that, and there was never any big deal made out of it. And I guess that's just the most natural way for me to write, is to just be as honest as I can and express as open.
Oh wait, I think we're back now.
We got it?
Yeah, that was such a shit time for it to friggin'
stop. That's okay. The universe is like, no, this is too much.
Stop.
Stop. I don't know where that got to, but in a nutshell, I when I'm thinking about it more, I find it so much harder to write songs about men. And like the ones that I do write, and I don't want to turn this into a gender. No, it is a gender thing actually, and it's nothing to do with like a man versus woman thing. It's me personally. When I tend to write about women and my experiences with women, it tends to be a lot more prolific, and there's a lot more to say from my point of view. And I guess it's just a matter of experience and different people being as they are. But my experiences with writing about relationships with guys has definitely been a lot more on the on the revengeful kind of revengeful, you know, that kind of side, like a lot more kind of, you know,
I hear
what I
that,
mean?
and you're right, actually.
Yeah,
now that you've said that, it's
right.
Like, those songs about women are all like,
I'm like,
she's
I will
so
do anything for you.
cool, I fancy her. And the songs about dudes are like,
fuck you,
yeah.
I'm not gonna do what you tell me to do. And I guess that's just embedded in everything that I've soaked up throughout my 25 years on this planet.
It's interesting.
So far, I guess subconsciously, because I don't set out to write that way. I don't think, right, I'm going to write a really angry song about this boy, or you know, a really good song about this woman, or whatever. It's just very naturally happened that way, and that continues to happen. We've got a new demo. I won't say too much, but it's going a really cool way, and I'm very much in love with it. And it's about a woman, and it's just, it happened so naturally to the point where I think I had 4 choruses and like 9 verses for it, because I had too much to say about this person and this situation, and that's a great thing to have. But I'm like, fuck, I could like split this into an entire EP about this woman, you know. But then it's like,
call it a name.
we just call it the name of the But I've gone off on a tangent because I just love women so much. But that's it, really. I hope I answered your question in there.
You definitely answered my question. I love as well that you said that like you never felt like you had to like come out, and like it was just like, it was so natural for you, because I feel like a lot of people, they're kind of scared of the whole coming out process, and like they find it hard to maybe come out to their family or whatever. And I feel like it should feel natural, and it should feel like you don't have to sort of declare your sexuality to people. It should just be whatever, like love is love at the end of the day. But yeah, I love that you said that.
No, you're so right. And like, I think that it's obviously it's a situational thing. It's a matter of who you surround yourself with, whether you choose to or not, family, friends, whatever. I think that it can be a difficult thing, but I do think that, like you say, if love is love, and if you know yourself, then it shouldn't have to be a big deal should you not want it to be. And I'm very blessed in the fact that I'm surrounded with the right people who I didn't need to make it a big thing, and it was pretty easy for me. And I understand it's not like that for everyone, and my heart goes out to the people that it's not that easy for. But I kind of hope that my music and obviously other forms of art can help kind of soften that blow for people who are struggling with that in a way.
100%. I love what you said there, definitely. But going back to you guys as a band anyway, and like Zela sort of time and forming it, what do you think like drew you two to working with each other in this like whole format? Like, what qualities do you think work really well with each other, and just generally being brother and sister in a band?
I think, again, sorry, I know I'm like taking
no, go
over,
for it.
But
it takes me a while to think of answers.
Yeah,
it's
about the time I'm like,
I know what I'm going to say now.
This is why we work well together.
Yeah.
We've definitely got very separate strengths, and I think that that's working very well in a lot of ways for us. I think that first of all, I feel like it was just such a natural progression for us to work together the way that we do with Zela, because like I said, we've always been in bands together growing up, and I think we've seen each other's potential since day dot, really, you know, from the way that we work together and the chemistry on stage, but also even just like traveling to and from gigs, and you know that time in the van, like we'd be listening to, oh, have you heard this song by the 1975? Oh shit, have you heard Wolf Alice's? I'll stick this song, we'll cue this one, and we're bouncing off each other constantly on the way to these, even if it was like a fucking covers gig in Rotherham, you know, whatever
which
it was.
often it was.
Yeah, which often it was, you know, or on the way back, we've just been at the fucking Chippy, it's like 1 a.m, we got to drive back to Durham, it's like, all right, stick that album on, you know. We were always just immersing ourselves and absorbing all this kind of this music, and I think that kind of shaped our brains together in a way into kind of like sonically into having a very similar kind of view for what we wanted out of Zela, musically and everything else that comes with that. And I think that the way we work together is very, it's interesting. It's different to how I hear other bands or whatever write together. We it's a very kind of separate thing until we take it to George in the studio, and then it becomes the 3 of us. It's very, very much a group kind of effort to get that.
I love that, yeah.
You know, it's like radio ready and exactly how we need it to sound. But I think initially, I mean, I write 100% of the lyrics, and that's something that, like I said, I've always done, and I'm happy doing, and that's what I want to do. Max actually writes like 100% of the instrumental from scratch. I say 100%. By the time we've developed it in the studio with George, there's things
probably
change, and
input.
you and George probably have equal input, and we all bounce off each other. But the idea always starts with Max and Max's ideas and his sequences or chord progressions, or even just like a sample or a sound or whatever. And he just has like folders and folders in the MacBook where I go into and I pick out a Logic file, and I just kind of, I listen to it, if it takes my fancy, if I get something over it, I work on it. If I don't, I move on to something else. And that's kind of just how we write. So we write very much separately until we get to the situation in Harrogate in the studio where we all come together, and the three of us kind of shift it about and kind of patch it up until it's where it needs to be.
Tends to just start with a loop, really. Like, so rather than spending like 3 or 4 days on like a song and then finishing it and then put it in the folder, I might write like, I don't know, like 10 ideas in a day, but they were only like kind of 30-second little short loops, different feels, different drum beats, different keys, different synths, different sounds, different styles. And then I'll write something. It might take us like an hour, and then I'm like, yeah, that's cool. And then I like bounce it down. It goes in the folder. I don't ever really think about it again until Liv comes along, goes through the folder, and then she's like, oh, I like this idea. And usually I've called it some bizarre title because
this is another thing.
I run out of things to call songs. So what I tend to do now is look for something that's like quite relevant.
The other day, I will show you, I actually got something in my phone. I was out and about somewhere, and I received this text from Max, and it was just this. It said, let me find it. Okay, so it's a link to a demo, and it says, "We've run out of milk.mp3." So literally, we'd ran out of milk in the house. He'd start working on this thing and was like, what the fuck do I? And he was like, oh, we've run out of milk.mp3. And I open it, and it's like this sick demo with all these synths, and it's just like, what the fuck? Like,
but
it's
I was finding that like every single idea that I had, I was calling like 80s. Synthy 80s 60s thing. And then all of a sudden it was like, which demo was that again? Is it?
Oh, fuck.
80s? No, it was Synthy 80s 8-bar. So I just started like,
you've just got ridiculous names. One of them was like, Boris Johnson has coronavirus. That was my dog just walking
Dog's
over.
Not funny. Yeah, that's another one. Sometimes I'll just open BBC News on my phone, look for a headline, and kind of take something from that. So yeah, Boris Johnson has coronavirus was one.
But what's interesting is that a lot of the time, because I can immediately see where a song is going to go if I'm hooked, if it catches my attention, if something Max does, whether that be like an 8-bar loop, something really short, I know immediately if I have something interesting and if I'm like drawn to it, and I'll work on it. And Healing actually started like that, didn't it?
Yeah.
That was just kind of a loop and a sequence, and immediately I got the I'm healing hook over it, and I was like, oh shit, that's got to just be the chorus. And then I'm like, okay, what does this mean to me? Why did that come to me straight away? And I looked inwards, and I wrote the song from that. And I think that's like, there's definitely some beauty in that. Not every song comes together that way. We don't really have a method. A lot of songs that we have take more work, and they have different forms before the final form, but that was definitely something that started from something really simple you'd written.
I love that you call the demos. That's hilarious. It's like something that you'd get on a t-shirt. Honestly, you should make them Zela t-shirts, and like you should have like little different ones, and you have to spot the fans wearing them. That'd be sick.
That's a good idea. Cool. I have so many. If I had time to read them all out, I would, but I'm not. I find it very entertaining though, so please don't stop doing that.
No, I definitely won't.
Thanks.
So you mentioned that is your dad a musician?
He is.
Oh my god, wow. So is your mum dabbling in music as well, or?
No, she's not really. My mum's always been, she's a creative, she's a florist. So
lovely.
She loves pretty things, she gets it, she's got an eye for it all, and she is just, honestly, her and my dad are just like best mates, match made in heaven, and like they just complement each other so well. And to be honest, they've just been they couldn't have been more supportive of us growing up, and like since we were kids, just anything that we wanted to try, nothing was out the question. You know, you try it. If it's not for you, it's not for you. If it is, we put our all into it. You know, always been behind us every step of the way, and was so thankful for that. But yeah, Dad's a musician, so we definitely get that side of us from him. It's in our blood.
That was a big helping hand into like music for us. It was never ever like forced on us. Like it was never like, oh, come on, like we'll do a guitar lesson. My dad's a guitarist, so it was never ever like, we'll do a guitar lesson, we'll do this, we'll do that. It was always just around. Like I said before, like the house is littered with instruments. I can see like 4 from where I'm sitting, like 4 different instruments. And so growing up, it was just something that we were always around. We would go with our mum to my dad's gigs and stuff. We would like travel up and down the country in a van, or we would like follow my dad's van in the car, whatever. So we were always just around music. And then when we kind of started expressing interest in music, it was everything that my mum and dad could do to help, basically.
Like, I mean, sorry.
I was going to say for like Christmas, when I was like 13, I got my first PA system. Like that was my Christmas present. I got like a mixing desk, 2 speakers, a load of leads. And it was just like, I put my first pub band together when I was like 13. I was going out.
Oh my God.
Yeah. We used to get in trouble all the time because like we'd ring the pubs. This is like 2009.
Oh God,
we'd ring the pubs, book this gig in. Oh yeah, we play this, we play that, we play this. This is how much we charge for the female singer. Oh yeah, come on down. And then we turn up and they'd be expecting like, I don't know, like
28-year-olds.
Yeah. I was 13. Our bass player was 14. And the other 2 guys, this is before me and Liv put our first band together.
I was 12.
The other 2 guys were like 18 and 19. So we walk in literally like teenagers.
Kids.
I was barely a teenager. I just turned 13. And the bar staff would be like, "You's kind of being here." Like, and we'd be like, "Well, yeah, well, you've booked us." Like, so, and we're here and we've brought our stuff, so we're going to play the gig.
Yeah.
So yeah, and like I said, my mum and dad would just do whatever they could to help us out. So we were lucky in that respect, because I know that not everyone's parents are as supportive or think that they should go down that route. I left 6th form like 3 months before I was meant to finish. I hated 6th form.
I didn't even do 6th form. I was just out there. I was like, fuck that.
And it got to, so the band that we were in at the time was signed to like a management label, and we had a little deal going on, and our manager was like, "I want you writing in this writing studio that she'd sourced for us like 5 days a week, like Monday, Friday, 9 to 5. I want you in there, like you get your weekends off." She sorted us out a retainer, so we'll get like paid a little bit for it. I was at 6th form and I was just like, yeah, fuck 6th form. Like, who needs A levels? And I was like 3 months off being done, and my mum and dad were just like, you can always come back and do qualifications if you need to, Max. Like, do what you need to do. Like, so even at that point, they weren't being like,
yeah,
take your qualifications, stick in, like, do what you need to do.
Just know that we're so like, that's all we've known, like, and that's all we want to do. Whether to some capacity, music is all we want to do, and it's in our blood, and like nothing excites us the way that does. Nothing like, we don't work as hard on anything as that, because that is literally it's just our life, and they see how much we want it, and they see how hard we work. And for that reason, I think if they thought that we were like, there was a percentage of us that was kind of, you know, a little bit lazy about it and kind of, no, not really sure if this is, they'd maybe be like, okay, well, come on, make some decisions, whatever, you know, help us out. But they've just always been like, yo, like, we believe that this is it for you guys. Like, you just got to put your fucking foot to the floor and just do it. And that's exactly what the kind of what they've told us all along, and that's what we've done. I always remember Dad used to make like CDs. It was compilation CDs for each of us, and he used to put them on our beds. Do you remember, on like a Friday?
CDs,
and
what are they?
Right?
Yeah, proper naughty's crap.
And he got a Sharpie, and he would have written like 1, 2, 3, 4, and like the names of the tracks and who they were by on the front of the CD.
Mine was always Max Tracks.
Max Tracks, yeah. It's just been Liv's Tracks, which isn't really as cool, is it? But I think it was crazy, because it would be everything that like we'd not heard, and I think that's where our taste in music obviously was started to grow, because it was like, you know, track 1 might be Red Hot Chili Peppers, track 2 Avril Lavigne, track 3 right? Track 3, Led Zeppelin. Track 4, Blondie. Track 5, Stereophonics. Track 6, Arctic Monkeys. So it was every genre you could think, you know, and everything that, and he kind of would tailor it so that he could find out, you know, he'd ask us what did you like on that one then, and then he'd maybe add one, but you know, Alanis Morissette, or and it grew like that, and there was nothing was out of the question, and some wild tracks were on there, and then it was like infused with like Britney because you know princess, you know, and then the next one's like AC/DC, and it was so eclectic, and it was just so like widespread, the variety, and I think that's kind of again like seasoned our brains a little bit into writing the way that we do now. We're definitely not scared to kind of experiment into, our references are crazy in the studio. We'll often get like a reference sheet of, well, we do it every time before we start a new song. We do trigger words and refs, you know, how do we see this song, how do we picture it coming out and the final form, and the refs will be mad. It'll be like, yeah, like that, like one might be like years and years, and then it's like Charlie XCX, Really Sally Out, all the pop stuff, but then My Chemical Romance is in there a lot for me. Like I fucking love My Chem, Arctic Monkeys, whatever.
Yeah, I love Arctic Monkeys.
Yeah. So it's definitely in the blood, and we've got a lot to thank my dad for, and my mum for the support. I feel like I'm in a fucking Oscar speech or something.
I love that your dad like put that much dedication into your playlist though. That's so sweet.
Yeah, and this is the days before like even playlists. This was like burning a CD, so it would be like it would literally be like, you know, getting songs off the internet, like the early days of the internet as well, like downloading songs. Yeah, YouTube covers. You know, like I can remember hearing songs when I was a kid that would like, I don't know, like halfway through have like some random sounding from where it's like been downloaded from like some bloody pirate site, YouTube or something, and then hearing the song years later, and it like say on the radio or something, and it get to that point, and in my head I hear that sound, and it's not on the actual recording because it was only ever on like from like some pirate site that my dad would get it from.
That's like the equivalent of when you get used to it. I have my Born to Run, my Bruce Springsteen vinyl that used to be my dad's, and every time I've listened, because I kind of listened to that album in its entirety so much on record, like physically with the vinyl, and I got used to it like that. And now if the cracks aren't in because it's a very old record with the scratches, you know, and the needle doesn't sit just right, and now when I hear them songs with not being played on vinyl, I'm like, oh, there should be a crack there. Why is it not skipping? You get so used to all the little flags.
But dad actually once auditioned for a band. Like this is a story that I've heard like a couple of times growing up. My dad once auditioned for this band, and they'd given him a record of their stuff to learn. And he was like, right, so he gets a record. Obviously back in the day, I'm talking about like the 80s, it was all just like learning stuff by ear. There was no like guitar tabs on 123tab.com or whatever the sites are called. There was nothing online. You couldn't just go on YouTube and be like, how to play this by The Outfield. It just wasn't a thing. So great band, The Outfield. So my dad had like learned this song, and right in the middle there was like a 3/4 bar, and he learned this bar and then took it to rehearsal, and at the end of this solo he was always like one beat ahead of the rest of the band, and they couldn't figure out like what was going on, like why he was getting to the end of the solo slightly before the band. And then they figured out that there was like a jump exactly one beat on the vinyl, and he'd actually learned the jump like as part of the track. Playing it live, he was like always slightly out because he'd learned it so to the T. Yeah, isn't it? So to the T that he learned the jump on the vinyl. Yeah,
that's dedication though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, it sounds like a legend, your dad.
He's a legend.
But not for the reasons you think.
That's like an in-joke, isn't it?
Yeah, sorry, I had to do that. Yeah, we were onto the gig, and this bloke comes up to him. We're like packing the gig down. He's like, "Excuse me, mate, what band did you used to be in?" So my dad like tells, he's been in loads of bands. He's like, "Oh, I was in this band, I was in that band." He's like, this lad's like, "That's where I know you're from." And then he just goes, "You're a legend, you, but not for the reasons you'd think." Then walked off.
Like, what does that even mean?
And it just became a thing, man. Like It just became an in-joke, didn't it? So sorry, I had to get that one in.
In-jokes just from playing so many club gigs.
That's cool. I love that. I feel like your dad should write a bit of a book on all of his stories and the history of music.
That's a great idea. He's a very good writer as well, so I reckon he'd be up for that. I think that's on the cards for my dad one day. I think is writing a book.
Yeah. I'm gonna pressure him into that. Yeah.
You can get a credit in there.
Yeah. Thanks. So guys, what does it mean for you now to be an artist? Like, if you could just sum it up in like one sentence, that might be hard, but what does it like, what in your soul, how does it feel to be an artist?
Okay, so it's probably not gonna be one sentence, but I'll try. I feel very lucky and I guess blessed, honored, whatever, privileged to be able to do what I love to the extent that we do, and to be able to express myself through arts and through something that I love so much, and if that touches other people in the right way, if other people can connect through that in whatever way, then that means that I'm doing it right, and that's just fucking double good, to be honest. So that's what it means for me.
I want people to have good experiences. Like, I want people to come to our gigs and have awesome experiences. I remember, like, I don't remember every gig I've ever been to. That was a while. I was going to say I remember every gig, but I usually get quite drunk. And I'm like, I wake up.
He remembers the first 15 minutes of every gig he's ever.
Yeah. Like, I started last year, man. I saw one of my favorite bands, and literally couldn't remember any of the stuff.
Oh no!
I bought tickets to see them the next night and purposefully didn't have a single drop to drink. So I remember. I want people that could have good experiences, be that like at our gigs or listen to our music or seeing what we're doing on social media. Like, you know, if people are seeing our stuff, being at our gigs, listening to our music and having good times, then cool.
That's what you're doing for, isn't it?
Yeah, I love that. And I think as a fan, like, that's what you want to hear as well. Like, for me, music, because obviously I'm not an artist, I get to experience it on the other side. And that's why I love speaking to artists, to understand what's behind it all. And for me, definitely the gigs and festival experiences just make it 100%. It's a whole experience, and it's been able to escape for a little bit and use your music to enter like a different world and escape whatever's going on in your life, be it good or bad, or it enhances your life as well. If you're having a good time, you and your mates, and you put, Zela on in the background, and you're like, oh mate, you fucking heard that tune, it's sick, and you're all dancing at 2 a.m, it's great.
Yes. Right. We want to soundtrack the good stuff. We want to soundtrack the good shit. I think I remember saying that it would be cool if we could, within the kind of all the songs, all the singles that we're going to eventually put out as Zela, it'd be cool to have like the pre-drinks kind of vibes, the party, and then like the after party, and then the next day, like want something that you're going to be able to relate to during all those stages of, enjoying yourself and going through the motions. And like, I think you're right, it's total escapism at the end of the day. And I do think that you totally come alive at gigs and festivals. That's definitely a huge thing, and I'm so glad we've got that back. And for us, that's been really important, is building the live show and getting that right, getting the songs to translate live the way that we want them to. And we found that they've translated like even better, I guess, because we had the live instruments. It's not just, obviously our electronic sound is what we are, but live it definitely takes on a bit, I don't want to say heavier, but it's a lot more full sounding.
It's a lot more live. I know that sounds daft, but like,
no, I know what you mean.
So like, because we're so electronic on record, and like, it's programmed drums, and we're using samples and synths and keys. When we take that to a live setting, and all of a sudden there's like live guitar, live drums make such a difference. Like when we put Zela together, and we put the live show together, we spent a while talking about like what we wanted from it and what we wanted Zela Live to really be. And for a little while we talked about it like just being me and Liv, and it just being like very electronic. I played like some kind of weird electronic kit, and maybe it was like standing up, and it was like samples, and and then we were like, or we could put like a band behind it, and we could go out with like a live bass player, a live guitarist, live drums, and like we could do it that way, and we could give the songs like another life live. And
that felt right, didn't it?
We tried it out, and we were like, yeah, these sound cool. These sound cool on record, but like this sounds good. And we've had so many comments. Like, I know we've only done 4 gigs, but we get so many comments, basically people saying like, we didn't realize that these songs could sound how they do live, because people are used to like the album version, and it's like, you know, the album, the streaming version, I guess. And not had an album out yet. And that's to come. But people are used to the electronic streamed versions, and then all of a sudden it's like there's live drums, and it's like the songs take on another level, and you get that energy live as well. I feel like with live.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
I feel like you can get the raw, gritty edge of it as well, which is I love about live music, and I feel like that fits your vibe as well so well, to have that raw edge to it.
So lost in it when we perform live. Like, I think that like just having Max do what he does. Obviously, I've grown up with Max on a kit behind me, like all my back and everything, so I get it. But I think sometimes I do take it for granted when, you know, we don't get to do that as often as we'd like, because it's like, you know, studio sessions, and it's not the same as being physically on stage. Max doing what he loves, he does best, beating it, me doing what I love and doing it best, you know, stomping about, singing, and I think that when we could do that together live, that's like where we really that's what we do.
Yeah.
That's where we thrive, yeah.
Just being totally present in the moment as well, isn't it, like that?
Yeah, you're right.
Well, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. I've got some quick fire questions to round things off. So I feel like I don't want this interview to end, but it's going to have to have been done.
Oh, I know. It's such good crack.
But yeah, quick fire questions. So what's your festival essential item?
Oh, right. Max will probably have the best answer for this, because fucking everything that's like first aid kits and stuff that I don't know about. Okay, mine would be
most quiet I've heard.
I go to a festival without I have like these like gold hot pants, right, that have like sequins coming off them.
I think I know what you mean.
Right, these are so true. This is such a trivial and like vain answer, but I don't care. They're like, I can't, even if I don't wear them, I've been unable to not take them to a festival since like 2017. Like, they're just like, they're part of me now at a festival. They're like Elsie and Fred, like that. Mine's my gold glitter hot pants. I'm not sorry about it. What's yours?
Mine is my gold glitter hot pants.
Love it. I love it.
No, mine would be fairy lights, right?
Yes.
Yeah. No,
I fucking love that.
Right, fucking hear me out, right? So back in Leeds Festival, like I've done Leeds Festival for the past like 10 years, no, 11 years now.
It's been 11
years in a row. Yeah.
Fucking hell.
And back in like, I don't know, like 2015 or something like that, we took a load of fairy lights with us for the first time, right? And we literally plastered them all over our gazebo, right? Everywhere. And then we like wrapped them around our tents, wrapped them around everything, right? And on a night, we switched them on, and it was like daylight around our camp. You could see our gazebo for miles. People were literally coming to our campsite and being like, thank you guys so much, right? We use your camp
to get home.
We literally use your fucking camp as like a waypoint to find our mates and our camp and stuff. It's like, oh, like, where should I meet you? Oh, you go to the fairy light gazebo. It's like, yeah.
I love that.
Right? So not only was that a festival essential for me, it was a festival essential for everyone.
That's not being selfish. That's Max thinking about everyone else.
And I like that. I like the fact that other people were like, oh yeah, we'll do this. Yeah, meet at the fairy light gazebo. But yeah, and you know, it helped us a lot.
Oh, I've got another one. You cannot underestimate, should I say, a good Belvita. Like, I swear to God, right?
So dry though.
Yeah, they are.
They are really dry, right? But if we're thinking from a place of
Belvita,
no, listen, right?
Belvita is your festival essential number 2.
Listen,
Belvita.
No, it's not about the taste. It's about the feel. When you can't be on burger and standing in a queue for 45 minutes. When you run, would you? When you run, sometimes I'm just like, I will pass out and die if I don't just have something quick now.
Belvita.
I was dishing them out like they were a fucking drug at Bournemouth. I was being called Belvita Aura. It was a whole thing. It was like, honestly, a good Belvedere, but you have to get the blueberry ones, otherwise there's no point.
I do have one more Festival Essential. Can I have two?
Go on.
I think it's only fair.
Sorry, no, I was going to say like a portable charger because I know.
Oh yeah.
I know that like
If we get real about it, yeah.
we all tied to our phones and we hate being tied to our phones. But when you lose all your mates and
leave a tent.
No one, sorry,
a tent.
A tent is probably the
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
True. I mean, we can always just find someone else with the tent. That's the idea, isn't it?
How long have you got? Because this Festival Essentials
sorry,
list.
it's
just quick fire.
Slow fire.
Jesus, slow fire. Right, okay, quick next question.
One, sorry.
So the next one is, if you could trade lives with anyone for a day, who would it be?
Oh.
Can they be dead?
Yeah.
Oh,
No, that came out wrong. No.
Can I kill them?
I don't want to be dead. I was just meaning like,
okay.
Could it be someone from someone from the past?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Who did you have in mind, or did you not?
No, I didn't have anyone in mind.
Okay.
You know, loud really.
I would probably go with. I'd go with Boris Johnson and I'd resign. I'd just remove myself from everything, and then everything would be a little bit better.
Mine would be the Queen.
Why? Why did we go so? I know.
Why would you like? I would just imagine how.
Oh, Harry Styles. I can't decide if I
Styles.
want to be him or be on him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
obviously.
I mean, I obviously want to be on him, but like, I think if I could get away with dressing how he does and just being how he is, I just think that I would have peaked at everything. So either Boris Johnson or Harry Styles to conclude.
They're both very similar.
I know. I see no differences.
So you want to be the Queen and you want to be Boris Johnson / Harry Styles.
I think it'd be mad to spend a day knowing that like you were like, because the Queen, she's got overall say and she's the gaffer.
I don't know.
And I don't know, like
it's not good though, is it?
But imagine just like living that life for a day of like.
Yeah, but why the Queen then? Why don't you say like the like Pharaoh of? Do you know what I mean? Like go like go abroad, go exotic.
Right. Okay. Then can I resign my answer? Can I retract
Cleopatra
it?
for Max. Let's move on.
Nah, maybe like Dave Grohl or someone like that. Like, I love Dave Grohl, and he gets to work with the coolest people. He has like the best stories. He gets to live his best life. I would like to do that. So probably Dave Grohl.
Solid.
Is that your final answer?
My answer with the Queen in favour of Dave Grohl.
Okay. Right. Buzzing. Last question, guys. Last question. Who's your favourite artist at the minute?
Oh, at the minute. I am listening to all sorts at the minute. I'm very much into Inhaler right now. I'm listening.
Oh, love Inhaler.
Yeah, I'm listening. It took me a little while on the Inhaler train. I was a little bit like, I'm not sure about this, and now I'm very much sure about it. I'm into it. Inhaler. You're listening to Baby Queen quite a bit.
Oh yeah, I've seen her going around at the minute.
Yeah, I'm just kind of answering for you because I hear across the house what you listen to when my Bluetooth speaker pauses.
Yeah. The war on drugs. I'm getting back into them. Like I was into them like last winter, and I've kind of like gotten back into them now, big time. And Bon Iver as well. I've never been into Bon Iver before, but like I've heard. So I had, like them, what's it called, artist radios on Spotify.
Yeah.
The Bon Iver song came on, and I was like, oh, I quite like this. And then I like started listening to them and was thinking like, I love like ambient stuff, like ethereal stuff. And I was just thinking, why have I never listened to Bon Iver before? Like, is that right in my street? So I am getting into Bon Iver. A lot less like intense than Liv's choices, but
that's always.
This is a common thing, by the way. Me and Liv have such different personalities. Liv's just like to be intense and go for it. Now I'm just like, have you heard this ambient album?
Water sample. It sounds like a Japanese spa. I love it.
I love it.
That's Max all over. It's Japanese. And I'm just like chaos. But we balance each other out.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm impulsive, and Max likes to think about 72 times on something. But I think that's it's part of the charm, innit?
Yeah, it's why you work so well together as well, probably.
I think so. Yeah.
Right, well, it's been lovely. I've really enjoyed it.
Thank you for that.
Thank you for having us.
Bye, guys. Guys, thank you so much for watching another episode of That New Music Podcast. Don't forget, if you really enjoyed the podcast, give it a little thumbs up and also comment down below, as it really, really, really helps the channel and really helps push the podcast forward. And like always, share some pretty decent tunes. But I do actually also have an Instagram page for my podcasts and other bits of music over there, so I'll link it in the description if you'd like to give that a follow. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next week.